Hey everybody, this is DM Mike, and this is the next time-lapse video for Tabletop Simulator. I thought instead of just jumping right into the map, I would start with the Mosquito, or the token creation, really. This whole map is for the Mosquito encounter that my players just recently went through last Friday. But this was the first process, was coming up with the enemy. And this is how I typically do it. I have a template that I use for all my tokens. You can see there on the right side where all the layers are, all the individual creatures and whatnot, and I just kind of replace the creature that I want inside the middle of the token for whatever it is. If it's a mosquito, if it's a giant, I replace it and save it. That's pretty much it. Pretty straightforward process. Obviously you have to do a little bit of resizing and whatnot, not that big of a deal. But usually keep the tokens red for enemies, just so it's clear when we're playing on Tabletop Simulator. They stand out, so they're easy to spot. The only time I would do a different color is when it's a special NPC. So like Langdodrosa, if you're playing Hoard of the Dragon Queen, you'll know who I'm talking about. But Langdodrosa, Rezimir, Asperoth, Splattergoo, Drowmore, they'll all have a unique color for their token. So that also kind of helps them stand out on the field. But this is it. This is the process. Not only are you making the map, but you got to make the enemies, of course, the new enemies for each chapter, each encounter, all the things you want to add, even though this is really not in the book. This is something I've added. But this is the process. So I'm testing it, close up and a small scale to make sure it looks right. The tedious part of this is really what's going on right now, and that is saving each token as a ping with the appropriate number on it. So starting with 1, and here I am going to 2, and then I go to 3, 4, 5, all the way up to 10. I typically don't do more than 10 because by that time I've had it. It's too much repetition. But this is me going in. You save them as pings, transparent pings. That way they come in nice and crisp. There's nothing in the background. You just got a solid image for your token. And so I go all the way up to 10, and then once you do that, you have to upload every single token individually into Tabletop Simulator. So it is a tedious thing, a very, very tedious thing. And you multiply that by all your encounters, and by every chapter, I've uploaded probably hundreds of tokens. But anyway, so we're done with that, right? So the tokens are finished. Now we're into the Tabletop Simulator itself. This is the Mosquito encounter on the danger route that I gave them. And this is one of 3 encounters. Now I think I've got a video already up that's already a time lapse that has the second encounter on it. This is actually the first one that they had. It was just these giant mosquitoes about the size of pigs that were coming through and attacking them. And I wanted to change up the environment a little bit. We're obviously still in a swamp, so nothing's really changed there. But I wanted to get away from a lot of the greenery, the swamp vines, and different things like that, and try to change it up a little bit, because that visual style, not that it's boring, but I just wanted a different flavor. So that's what I went with this time. And these rocks I'm pulling in, these are rock-covered or moss-covered rocks. It's something you can find on the workshop. I think Vess is the guy's name. You'll find it. If you get Tabletop Simulator, you want to go to the workshop, just look at the popular mods, and his name will come up quite often. He's got great models, not only environmental models, but he has really great stuff when it comes to characters and hero models, like knights and whatever, and goblins, and he's got whole things on dwarves. It's really, really cool stuff. It's really, really good. But I think here I'm just changing the background as I'm doing my layout. And so every once in a while, the screen goes dark a little bit. I'm just testing lighting. I think it's a good thing to do as you're building your map. You get to a certain point where it starts to look good. Okay, let me test it to see how it looks in the right lighting. The lighting that I want to use. So here I am doing it again, just changing things around. And one thing I keep doing is putting the models that I want to use on the sides of the table. I don't know if that's a good way to work or not. It's just what I do. I'll go through my workshop stuff, all the things I've saved, and I'll go through and I'll just pull out all the little things that I want to use and put them on the side of the table. I know I've talked about this before in my other time lapse, but that's what I continue to do here. So just I can pull from it immediately. So here I am just laying it all out. Of course, adjusting size, scale, depth, different things. Still using the swamp bush on the side. I don't know, it just kind of encloses the map and makes you feel like you're in that swamp environment still. You're not seeing a lot of the table, in other words. We don't play this game all together online. It's live. It's just I'm the only one who's really running the table, so, or running the software. Everybody just sees it on a big TV screen. So I'm starting to add in details here. Again, you don't want to add those details too early. You want to leave those alone until you've done your formal layout. You're making sure things work. I'm probably a little too early on some of this stuff here that I'm doing, but I don't know, I guess I was confident enough to say, yeah, this works. This looks good. Still laying out those rocks. The rocks are more of, I don't know what they call these things, but in swamps you have, I don't think they're stalagmites. I think they're kind of old stumps of trees, and they look like stalagmites. Maybe they are, I don't know. And they're just kind of corroded and moss covered and look like they've been eaten alive by acid or something. I don't know. They're all over the place, and that's what I wanted to do here. So that's why those rocks are all there. They're more like trees. Okay, there I'm testing the route, right? So this is a river boat journey, so I'm testing the route of the boats through all my objects to make sure it's even going to work. Like things will not get hung up on larger models or smaller models, or because I don't know what the characters are going to do. They can go any direction, so I got to make sure everything works. And I purposely put like a piece of land right there in the middle, so it almost kind of forced the boats to separate. But also, I have a ranged character in there, so sometimes, I don't know, I kind of felt like maybe they'd pull the boat up on the shore so they can all be in a stable place, and he would fire from there or whatnot. I don't know. I just gave him options. But here I'm laying down the laying down the special effects. You see all those little gray squares, that's the smoke. And here I am lowering it into the table, adjusting and lowering the table, so they don't hit those. The models don't hit those. And they're all locked down. So you want to make sure all your models are locked down. Otherwise, your tokens are going to be bouncing all over the place. And you're going to be hitting and knocking things over, and it's going to be an embarrassment. Here I'm using a light bar. I don't use this. I've yet to really use this thing very well, so I deleted it. And here's the last thing. I'm putting in just those last bits of visual effects, like these fires. Doesn't make a lot of sense why they're there, but it just looks cool. So, and I wanted a little bit of lighting on the map, just sprinkled everywhere. Very reminiscent of Lord of the Rings, when Frodo and Sam go into the swamp and they have those lit fires in the waters. Doing some adjustments, okay. Checking things, still moving things around. Last minute stuff here. Looks like I kind of cleared the path there. But this is the process. This took an hour and 20 minutes or so, maybe an hour and a half at the most, give or take maybe 10 minutes to do the layout. What would increase that output was drawing it first, getting an idea of what I wanted. But I think this is going to wrap up here soon. These are my enemy bags. Oh, yep, always got to have crocodiles because I don't know who is going to dive into the water. Here I'm scaling the tokens down. But I think this slows down here in a second, goes into real time so you can actually see the map finished. Let's see what happens here. I think we're close to the end here. Maybe I don't know. Oh, okay, there it is. All right, guys, that's it. That's all I've got. This is the Mosquito encounter for Chapter 6, Mirror of Dead Men. More maps to come and more campaign diaries. All right, guys, thanks for keeping up and thanks for watching. Appreciate it.